It is. I mean, and when I say first class, it was first opportunity for us to have them on campus to get evaluated in our camps. It was a chance for us to have them unofficially on our campus, for us to get into their schools, watch them play football, get into their homes, so to build that relationship. So it gets me a little excited. And, when you look at the 24, 16 are from Ohio. I think 4 are from Pennsylvania. 3 of them are state champions. The 2 young men from Chardon and 1 from Cary High School. And again, almost all of them are dual sport athletes. And they come, we have kids that are 30 ACT, 4.0 GPA, captains of their football team, state champion, so we try to find that mixture and bring together a great class. So we're excited for the future Penguins.
You got some local guys, and obviously you both one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Had a storybook career down in Springfield. Just what expectations from him and just on Bo in general?
Everybody says, what position? Well, we brought Bo into our camps a couple of times this summer and really evaluated and assessed his throwing, his movement. He does have the it factor. I mean, I think he's a winner. He shows it in how he plays each and every sport. He shows it when he's walking down the hallway. And to be able to evaluate how he can throw a football, he can throw a football, and he will start out at quarterback here at Youngstown State. And both those young men, Bo or Dylan Dominguez from South Range, they both came. I think Dylan came to 2 camps, worked out as a running back, worked out as a defensive back, was evaluated. You do the analyticals, you do the testing, and felt that he's just a good football player that comes from a good football program and has won a lot of games. So that's what we're looking for. That's the formula. Well, good football players. We need, for us to take the next step, we got to be competitive at each and every position. And recruiting classes, it doesn't just take one good recruiting class. You got to stack them year upon year upon year upon year. We're going against programs where the head coach has been there 20, 24 years, where they've stacked good recruiting programs for the last 20 years. And that's what we got to do. It's not about 1 year. It's about next year going out and finding the same exact class. What did we look for? We know in this league, we got to get bigger. We got to get bigger. We got to get stronger. And for us to go get length, I take one position group, linebacker. We went out. 2 of the linebackers are great basketball players. You look at Mike Wells at Newcastle. You look at Nathaniel Salka at Chardon. Mike Wells is a 6'3", 6'4", 220-pound dual athlete linebacker that's going to be a great football player. Nathaniel Salka is a 6'4", 205-pound dual athlete that's going to be a good football player. Once those guys focus on one sport every day for the next 4 years, you're going to see them develop real quickly.
Anyone coming in early, Doug?
We got one from Stowe High School. Van Keen is a mid-year offensive lineman that we'll have here on January 10th.
How exciting is it to just have 2 kids from the valley commit here next year?
It's great. I spent time at Cincinnati, and when we tried to get that going, it wasn't an in thing for the local kids to stay in Cincinnati. And so you get one at a time, and then you can start winning. You start turning 2 into 4. You turn 4 into 8. And again, for us, we want the very best football players. We play in the most competitive football league in FCS. We play in the SEC of FCS. So again, for us, it's about hitting the measurements that we need. You see the teams, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, they're big. We got to continue to look for the length, look for the size, look for good football players, leaders, captains of their teams that come from great football programs, which we have in this area. So we got to continue and make it important and make those guys want to play for their hometown team.
But you got a lot of quarterbacks even prior to this class.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, Bo, we're going to start him at quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
He's going to compete at quarterback. Yeah, you can never go wrong. It's like having pitchers. Have a lot of pitchers and see who becomes the guy. And they'll have the opportunity to go out and be able to compete. and have those quarterbacks. Quarterbacks look this year. We probably had to play 3 quarterbacks this year with, even Mitch Davidson having the opportunity to play. So for us to get quarterbacks, they start there. They're usually the best athlete at most places. It's the best athlete at a high school that plays quarterback. Grant Dixon, who is our, all-league Missouri Valley Football Conference middle linebacker, guess what position he played in high school, Dana? He played quarterback.
How did recruiting go? I mean, you played in the spring, and then, everything was kind of bunched together. So how did the recruiting go over the last?
It was surreal. The last time I was on the road recruiting, I had a different logo on my chest. So to be able to go out and recruit with the Y on your chest, to me, I'm very proud of that. And to be able to walk into schools and to be able to see athletes and you got the logo on your chest, and to think that's the first time you're able to do that, and you've been here, for 2 years, things are getting back to normal. And again, it's not a 1-year thing. You got to go out every year. I got to have 10 coaches every year that go and find the best football players. I'm proud that, again, 20 of these are from a 120-mile radius. That's important to us. They understand the region. They understand the type of football we play. What we got to start selling. We live in MAC country. Everyone knows Mid-American. Well, we're in the Missouri Valley. It's a great football conference. Except in Ohio, people don't hear of the Missouri Valley. So we got to do a great job of selling the league we play in. I think right now, FCS, there's 200 FCS football players on current NFL rosters. So the competition, the level of football we play is at the highest.
Recruiting-wise, was it receptive? Was it different for you being a head coach?
Yeah, I don't think so. I feel like when you walk in a building, you go in as a building and you're a coach, no matter if I'm the running back coach at another school or the head football coach at Youngstown State. I don't see a difference. For me to go in and be the head coach, the buck stops here. So to be able to go into schools and meet the head coaches, it was great. To go in and see Coach Hewitt at Chardon and congratulate him on winning a state championship and talking to their principal and talking to the secretaries. To me, that's what recruiting's about. And we can't hit all 700, and I don't know how many school districts there are in the state of Ohio. There's a lot. But to be able to walk into school and plant the Y in that school, to me, is always special. And having opportunities to go in those schools, I look forward to. For me, I was an educator, so to go in and see teachers, see administrators, see bus drivers, I like getting back in schools.
Since we haven't talked to you since the end of the season, do you expect all your assistants to come back?
There's always going to be changeover. What I ask our assistants is give me 2 years, and I want all of our assistant coaches to be head coaches. That's something that I got to be prepared for each and every day, is our coaches having opportunities to move up. And some of our coaches have those opportunities, and I'm more excited. I get head coaches that call me from, prestigious football programs. And if they want to talk to one of my coaches, that's telling me I'm hiring the right people. I'm having our kids coached by the right people. And if those opportunities to go into the Big Ten and coach football or opportunities like that, I'm happy for them. And I'm going to go find the next one to fill their spot and provide our kids with the very best coaching. So, Dana, we're always going to be in that business of replacing coaches. And, so I got a long list of coaches. And so when we interview, I have a long list that we can pull from. But I want to give our kids the very best. I'm not going to shortchange them. And sometimes when you give them the very best, in 2 years, they're moving on.
And I don't know if you can answer this, but the portal, has kids gone into the portal, not into the portal?
Yeah, 4,000 kids in the portal. So that's just something we're going to have to deal with. It's kind of like free agency. Do we lose kids in the portal? Yeah, we'll lose kids in the portal. We talk about recruiting, developing, and retaining. That used to be the old school way of talking. Well, you better talk about retaining, number one, retaining the current players you have, then go recruit, and then go develop. So for us, it's retaining the good players that we have. Other players, maybe they're not getting on the field and having opportunities. And if there's another place they can go to have that opportunity, but as a head coach, I want to have as much competition at each position group. So I want the starter to know who that second string is, because every day you got to come to work and you got to earn it and you got to stay ahead of that guy. And so competition is what makes championship teams. And these freshmen or the transfers that we bring in at mid-year, I want to make it the most competitive spring we can have.
How special or, cool is it to be able to recruit a guy like Doug who's won 2 national championships together, already started the
Mm-hmm.
family?
It is. I was here when Mark was here in 1991 and remember his recruiting process. And so to see that legacy and to see his son come here, it meant a lot, and to know we're all Springfield Tigers, that makes it even more special. It does, I can't wait. I have, I had told them I'd do my house visit in January. So to pull down Brungard Road, a place that I grew up close to, it's always special.
Sorry, Doug, what do you want from Santa?
Maybe a receiver, a mid-year receiver. I'd take it, from Santa, a mid-year receiver, and maybe 2 more offensive linemen that we can continue to make competitive, make our guys up front. So that Santa brings me those 3 things. It'll be a great New Year's.
As far as getting back to a traditional recruiting approach goes, how much more beneficial is it to get to go in person and lay that foundation?
It is. The one thing you see with the portal, and I added up max schools. Like I want to see how many high school players the max take, because if they're not taking a lot of them, guess where they're coming to? Meaning they're going maybe into the portal a little bit more. And I used 2 numbers. I looked at 2 max schools, and we have more high school athletes coming to Youngstown State than they do combined. Because nowadays people want a quick answer. They want to win right now. So what do? They go into the transfer portal where there's 4,000 kids, and maybe that offensive lineman played in 15 football games compared to that high school, because they know they got to win right now. And I guess when, I interviewed for this job, I wanted to do it with high school players, have the ability to recruit and develop and stack recruiting classes upon recruiting classes. So when one graduates, the next one's ready to go. But you still have to use that free agency in the portal just to fill some needs that you have, whether, if you got 2 surgeries on your defensive line, well, I got to have guys this spring that can play football. Maybe their shoulders are rehabbing. I got to have somebody ready to go. So you got to get your high school class. I still think that's the most important thing. And after there, you got to fill the needs of maybe bringing in 6 to 10 mid-year transfers.
Is that what February's for, Doug?
Now, mid-year transfers got to start. They got to be here January 10th, ready to go. And some of them don't sign the NLI. They sign a grant and aid, Dana. And that grant and aid, you got to hope they show up on January 10th.